Hey everybody, it's Makaya and welcome back to your favorite webisodes. Let's talk. So with that being said, y'all know what it is. Let's talk. Let's sit and have a conversation. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. I know your girl has been gone, but if you've been following me on all my other social media platforms, y'all know what's good. So we just gonna skip over that, okay? I know if you're reading the title of this video, you know we're gonna be talking about how I knew my husband was my husband, or how the Lord showed me my husband 2 years before I actually met him. We gonna be spilling the tea today. And honestly, I'm doing this video, one, because it's kind of been on my heart for a while. And then two, it is marriage season. It is cuffing season. All the girlies are getting married. They're getting engaged. They're courting now. And I've been having a lot of questions from a lot of people close to me, like, hey, how did you and Jay get together? Like, how did you know, sis? Like, what was that looking like? And next month, me and Jay are gonna be married for 2 years, and we've been together for 3 years and 3 years and 3 months. So I think this story is long overdue. So with that being said, let's get into the video. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I'm a little nervous to tell y'all this story. Honestly, I've always been pretty nervous about telling people how we met or telling people how I knew he was my husband, because to me it's a little unorthodox. Like, it's very unconventional. And you're talking about a girl whose parents had one conversation and was like, you my husband, you my wife, let's get married. And 7 months later they were married and been married 25 years now. So I should not be shy, or I should not be a stranger to the unconventional things. But when it happens to you, it's very different. And when it comes to marriage, I did not think this is how my story would be at all. So anyway, let's get into it. So I remember at the age of 15, my dad's spiritual father coming to me and giving me like a whole bunch of prophecies. But one thing he did say were you were going to get married at a young age. And that kind of agreed with me. I always had this feeling that I would get married young. And so to me, that just like confirmed how I felt. And like my parents as well also knew I was going to get married young, just because of how my life was going. I tell people all the time, I lived a very accelerated life, meaning that like I always felt like my life was on a very fast pace. And so me getting married young wasn't far-fetched to really anyone. So I remember him telling me that. And then I remember when I turned 17, I remember the Lord telling me 2 things about my husband. And those 2 things was that he'd be a man of prayer and that he was going to be a virgin. Yes, I said that he was going to be a virgin, meaning untouched. Hallelujah. And my parents, confirmed those two things on 2 different occasions, 2 separate occasions, without me telling that to them. And so that's when I was 17. Also around 17, 18, there was another young man around at the time, who me and him were like really good friends. And he liked me. I didn't necessarily like him at the time, but he was cool people's. And I was like, maybe, this is him. Like, I had a feeling like, this was him. Like, I was gonna end up marrying him. And we started to walk that and talk about that. But things went south with that real quick. Things with that went south. And after that experience, and we're not gonna get into that experience, but after that experience, I remember telling God, like, I'm good. Like, I don't want to be married. No, that's how traumatizing that experience was. I was like, I don't want to be married. If this is how people operate, if this is how your men's of gods operate and stuff like that, I'm good. Like, I'm fine. I did not want to, after that situation, I did not want to be married. I was completely fine. I was like, I'm just gonna live my life because this is a no for me. Like this, it was an on and off thing for like some time. So I remember 2020 comes, right? Pandemic, we're shut down. Okay, I think everything shut down in like February. I feel like everything shut down in February. But every month it was just crazy because it was in the midst of a pandemic. But every month in the year 2020, I got a prophecy, a prophetic word, a word of knowledge about marriage. It was through Zoom, phone calls, texts, birthday parties, with like when things opened up, like going to people's houses and stuff, like at church, I was getting a word about marriage. Like I hear wedding bells. Your husband is coming. You and your husband are going to be in ministry and you're going to flourish in ministry. You're going to be pastors, all this stuff like that. Makai, he's coming around the corner. Like I remember strategically in September of 2020, I was at a birthday party for one of my mom's friend's daughters, and my mom's friend got up in the middle of the birthday party and was like, Micaiah, I hear the Lord saying your husband's around the corner. Ma'am, I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, what? But then I was also like, hold on, because I'm not talking to nobody. I'm not talking to nobody. The only young man I have looked at when it comes to marriage, we ain't really cool right now. So, are you talking about him? I hope you're not talking about him because I really don't want to. I don't want to do that no more. I was like, I don't want to do that no more. He's great, but I'm good. So like all these prophecies about marriage, like I was excited, but then it was also freaking me out because there was only one person who I could see marriage with, or who I even looked at when it came to marriage. And at that point, I didn't want to do that with him. So I was like, okay, I don't know what's happening. So from January, I kid you not, from January to November of 2020, I got something about marriage every month. Do you hear me? Every month it was something about marriage. Literally, God is my witness. Every month it was something about marriage. So end of November comes and I started doing TikTok again. I've been doing TikTok and stuff, but I never used to just post it. But I actually started posting stuff now because I'm bored, whatever. So I posted a video and it low-key went a little viral, just a little bit. And people were duetting it, but there was this one particular duet that caught my eye, and it was this guy duetting my video. And if I can find it, I'll put it up here. Duetting my video, and he was doing Life of a Pastor. So it was like Life of a Pastor when the guest psalmist comes and tears up house, something like that. And lo and behold, it was Jay, and he had way more followers than me, because apparently he was popular on Vine and then switched over to TikTok. I don't know, that's what they told me, but you know, so like he had way more followers than me, and I was like, oh, he has cool content, I'll follow him. So I followed him. I saw that he was doing a church TikTok series, and I saw that he was looking to cast people for the series. So I ended up posting another video beginning of December, saying that I was like a PK or whatever, and he commented under the video, daughter, ? And I was like, maybe ? And then we established that I was gonna join the series as his daughter. So yes, when I first met Jay, I joined a church TikTok series with him, and I was playing his daughter. How wonderful is that, right? So again, 2021 rolls around, January 2021. I think that was like the 1st of January was like my first debut video on the TikTok series, whatever. And Jay started an Instagram group for all the people in the TikTok series. And we were talking there, and then eventually he started messaging me on the side to like ask me what was going on in the group chat, because there was some people in the group chat who was messy, and he didn't really want to go in there, so he would like ask me or ask another lady called Kenyatta, KB, we love you. So he would either ask her or ask me like what's going on, because he said to him he felt like we had the most. No offense to nobody, but that's what he said. So yeah, and then eventually we started like sharing ideas about the series and what we could do, and then we started talking more and realizing we had a lot of stuff in common, right? So eventually, because I'm home, he's working from home, I'm working from home, I have nothing to do, I start assisting him more with stuff on the series. So now we're like setting up Zoom calls and all this stuff, like we're planning out stuff, we're scheduling meetings, all this stuff. Okay, we're gonna do this. He became like the little secretary or whatever, and that was fine. And then over the course, I'm talking to him, I'm realizing that we have a lot of stuff in common. Like he's a PK, I'm a PK, his parents have 3 kids, my parents have 3 kids. Our siblings are similar to each other. He says I remind him of his sister. He reminded me of Sammy, honestly. So it's like, we started realizing that we have a lot of things in common. And through the course of that, I remember saying, Lord, this man needs a wife. Like, I literally remember saying, God, this man needs a wife. Like, he needs to be married. Like, he's so deserving. Like, he's so sweet. I really believe like he would benefit greatly from being married, and I knew that was a desire of his heart. So I started praying with my dunstedy self. But it just shows you that my heart was in a good place, because like I didn't like him. He was 11 years older than me. I never met him before. To me, he was just bro. So I'm like, yeah, like I'm gonna start praying for my bro. And as I was praying for the Lord to send him his wife, I started thinking of every woman that I know that could potentially be a good wife for him. I tried to hook that man up with everybody but me. You understand what I'm saying? So I started praying for his wife, and then he told me that he liked one of the girls in the series, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I could actually see that working. I'm gonna pray on your behalf. So I'm making it my business to pray for this man's wife. I'm making my business to pray that he gets married, because I know he wants a family. I feel like he's just so great. He's so deserving of it, and I know like I know that's what God has called for him to do. So I make it my business to pray for this man's wife. And I'm praying, Lord, wherever she is, Lord, begin to change stuff on the inside of her, and God, begin to open up her eyes to herself, God, and begin to expose the hidden things, Lord, start to prepare her, and I'm praying all of these things, not realizing that I'm praying this stuff, that the Lord will do this stuff in his wife, and the stuff I'm praying that the Lord will do in his wife is happening in me. I was not realizing that at the moment. I was not realizing that. So January, February, ending of February, going into March. So let's say the beginning of March. Yeah, beginning of March. I get this feeling. Because now me and Jay are super close. Like we're talking all the time. And again, it was never no flirtatious, nothing. I wasn't flirting with him. He wasn't flirting with me. And again, the man liked a whole nother woman. Okay, he liked the whole, and I played his daughter. Like we was not checking for each other. But I remember one day going to the park, because I used to like to take drives to the park. I remember taking a drive to the park and sitting there, and I got this unction, this feeling, this gut feeling that this man is supposed to be more to me than just my brother. And I remember being so confused by that feeling, because I'm like, what is that? I just had a feeling like, Micaiah, this man isn't just your friend. This man isn't just you. Like, he's supposed to be more than that to you. And I've never felt that feeling before. And because I didn't like him, I didn't like him like that. It was a confusing feeling. And so I didn't say anything about it, but eventually, because I had that feeling, I was quiet the rest of the day. And I remember Michaela being like, Micaiah, what's wrong with you? And I was like, nothing. She's like, Micaiah, don't lie to me. Like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I just have this weird feeling about Jade. I don't really know what to do about it. And she was like, well, maybe you should go on a fast about it. Because honestly, at that time, me and Michaela used to fast about everything. Everything, okay? We used to fast about everything. So we're like, it's like, just go on a fast about it. I was like, you're right, I'm gonna go on a fast about it. So I decided that I was gonna go on a week fast. And I told him, hey, I'm going on a fast, so if you don't hear from me, that's why. And I had to tell him that because, like I said, me and Jay were talking all the time. Like, after Jesus, like, I would get up, pray, and then talk to Jay. Like, I would talk to Jay, then pray, go to bed. Like, literally. Like, I talk to him all the time now. Like, he became so much a part of my quote-unquote routine. So I had to tell him that, hey, like, if you don't hear from me, this is why. So I went on this fast, and I'm expecting to be on this fast for a week because that's what I planned. Because I'm crazy. Like, I'm going crazy. I literally thought I was just going crazy and I was just making stuff in my head. So I literally planned to be tarrying for a week. And I can say I was on that fast for maybe 30 minutes. Maybe. Because in the span time of me starting, the Lord had literally told me everything. It wasn't like I got there and I was like, yes, God did it. And it was like, God was like, no, pause. Let me tell you what it is. This is what it is. Literally. So as I'm sitting here praying, the Lord reminds me of a dream I had when I was on a fast 2 years prior around the same time for the other young man. Because stuff with him in 2019 around and in February, beginning of March, I went on a fast about the other guy because it wasn't math then. I was like, this don't make sense to me and it's very confusing. And at this point, I'm traumatized. So I went on a fast. A week fast. I went on a week fast. And I remember going to sleep, not like I was praying and then I went to sleep. No, like it's bedtime, going to sleep. And I had this dream. And in the dream, it was the young man before, the first young man. I was at a house and he gave, like I had this box. I don't know what was in this box. To this day, I don't know what was in this box. But I had this box and I was trying to give the box to the guy. And he would not take the box. And it was making me frustrated because I'm like, bro, just take the box. Like, what are you doing? Get the box. And he would not take the box. And I remember handing him the box and walking away. And when I came back, he was gone and the box was still there. And I'm like, I remember being so frustrated in the dream because I'm like, oh my gosh, why are you not taking the box? So like, I go outside to go follow him to give him the box. And I walk up to this car. But it's not his car. And I had never seen this car before. But I remember it was a black GMC with tinted windows. Like, not extremely tinted windows, but the windows, like, had tint on them. And I was like, I remember in the dream walking up to the car, like, whose car is this? Like, whose car is this? And the window rolls down. And it's a guy that looks like the first guy, but he's clearly older. Like he clearly looks older than the other guy, but they look like they could be related. They're not like twins, but they look like they could be brothers. Like they look really similar to each other. And this guy in this car I had never seen before in my life. So I remember giving him the box. And when I gave him the box he was like, I'll see you at home. And then I woke up. And I didn't just wake up from the dream, like just woke up. Like, no, I woke up to my phone ringing. And when I looked at my phone, it was my dad calling me. And I answered it and I was like, hey daddy, what's up? And he was like, what you doing? And I was like, oh, I was sleeping. You woke me up. And he was like, oh, well, I was in prayer. And the Lord told me to tell you he's removing the counterfeit. Wait? What do you mean? What are you talking about? He was like, yeah, the Lord told me to tell you that he's removing the counterfeit. I'm like, okay. And so I'm like, interesting. And I tell him the dream I had. And he was like, okay, well, put it in your back pocket and just hold on to it. So that's what I did. I put it in my back pocket and I held on to it because I had no idea what the dream meant. And I had no idea what the Lord was talking about, counterfeit. I'm like, who's the counterfeit? The guy I was on the fast for, or this random guy you done showed me in my dream who I have no idea who he is. Who's the counterfeit? Now I know that it was the guy, but then I didn't. Slow mentality. Anyway, fast forward back to 2021. on the fast about Jay, the Lord reminds me of this dream and shows me the face. Like, reminds me of the face that was in the car. And I'm like, that's Jay. No, I'm tripping. I'm tripping. I'm tripping. God was like, no, you're not. I'm like, no, I'm tripping. He was like, all right. Ask Jay what car he drives. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm supposed to be on the fast. He's like, ask Jay what car he drives. If I could find these receipts, I'll post them. I went and I messaged Jay and I said, hey, random question. What kind of car do you drive? And he goes, a black GMC Terrain. I said, what? He said, a black GMC Terrain. I said, send me a picture if you don't mind. Send me a picture. Why was it the same car in the dream? Why was it the same car in the dream? Why? Same interior, everything. Why was it the same car in the dream? Sorry, y'all. I forgot to say this. Remember how I said the guy in the car looked like the prior guy? Everyone who knows Jay and knows the guy before him, like the first guy, they all say that they look alike. And it is the truth. Them men look like they could be brothers. And it is a tad bit creepy, okay? But anyway, let's get back into the video. I just forgot to say that part. So now I'm freaking out, right? Because I'm like, God, what are you trying to say? And God's like, Micaiah, that's your husband. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's not my husband. He's like, Micaiah, it's your husband. I'm like, no. I know when you showed me that dream, you said you were moving the counterfeit. But I didn't think it was going to be him. No, I'm like, God, First of all, I ain't never met this man a day in my life. This man lives in Virginia. I only know him because of TikTok. And yes, we've become friends. And yes, we've become close. But I've never met him. On top of that, too, the man is 11 years older than me. I'm 20. The man is 31. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no. We're not gonna do that. And I just told you I don't want to be married. I just told you I'm good. I will be the rich auntie. Why would you do such a thing like this to me? Why? When I tell you I was freaking out, because I was like, this is not happening. Now what's crazy is, and I didn't find this out till later, what's crazy is in January, the Lord told my mom that I was getting ready to get married, but who I was going to marry was not who she thought it was going to be, and that I was going to meet this man through doing stuff through social media. My mama never told me that, but that's what the Lord told her in January. Okay, so fast forward, let's go back. So now I'm here, I'm freaking out. And mind you now, my spirit's at peace the whole time, but my flesh is freaking out because this, to me, it doesn't make sense. Like, to me, none of it makes sense. Like, what do you mean this is my husband? So I remember Michaela coming home and I'm like very quiet because I'm just dumbfounded at this point. And we go to the mall and she's like, Micaiah, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, nothing. She's like, Micaiah, don't lie. What's wrong with you? And I was like, this is exactly how it said. I was like, I think Jay is my husband. Why did this girl start laughing? This girl starts laughing. I was like, why are you laughing? She was like, you just figuring that out? I was like, first of all, you're rude. Because I am literally in turmoil right now. I am in turmoil right now and you're laughing at me. I am freaking out. And she's like, Micaiah, like, duh, it's evident. Like, it's evident this man is your husband. Like, it makes sense. And it's crazy because the Lord literally caught me off guard. Because the Lord knew if I met Jay and knew that he was my husband off ripped, I would have self-sabotaged the whole thing. Because I was hurt. I was still dealing with traumatic stuff from the first man. I'm good. And I didn't want to be married. I'm good. And so the Lord allowed him to become my friend and allowed us to build a relationship, and then was like, here you go, bam. So now I've actually developed, a love for this man. I've developed a genuine friendship with this man. And then God was like, here you go. And honestly, I have to say, even after that, like, stuff kept happening. Like, the Lord even kept reminding me of like things he told me, just like your husband's gonna be a virgin and a man, like simple stuff like that. Jay was like stuff I told the Lord I wanted my husband to be. Jay was like simple things like I want my husband to be tall. Jay's 6'2", almost 6'3". Okay, just saying one deep desire I had was for my husband to be able to sing, because I love to hear. My dad used to lead worship when I was growing up, and I used to love hearing my dad sing. I used to love hearing my dad lead worship. Will you believe me when I say my husband, Jay, when he sings, he sounds like the younger version of my dad? Like stuff like that, which is so simple. The Lord, like everything that I had a desire, every prophecy that I had got, everything that the Lord told me my husband would be, it was as if the Lord was taking everything piece by piece and was like, this is Jay. Remember this? This is Jay. Remember that? Jay does this. Remember that? Jay has that. And I remember just being so overwhelmed with tears. Because I was like, God, like, whoa. Like, it's crazy when you have a desire for something, but you've been through so much, so you're like, whatever. And then it starts to happen when you're not looking. When I wasn't paying attention, he showed up. When I was just doing my thing or whatever, he showed up. And even after that fast, even after like the Lord telling me that, so many other things after just started confirming it. Like one desire that I had was, when the Lord was like, all right, this is your husband, I was like, all right, God, well then you're gonna have to tell my daddy. Like, you're gonna have to tell my father. Like, because you know how Michael Millard is when it comes to me. So you're gonna have to tell him. And I remember when I finally called my dad to tell him, my dad was like, yeah, I already know who he is. Like, literally, I said, hey daddy. He was like, what's up? I was like, I need to tell you something. He was like, yeah, I already know. Who is he? Yeah, the Lord told me. Who is he? Like stuff like that. Stuff like that. And I think the most thing, and I'm gonna stop right there. I'm not gonna get into the rest because I feel like Jay needs to be here for me to get into the rest of everything. So I'm gonna just stop right there of me realizing, finding out, all that stuff like that. But what's so crazy to me is that I remember when I was going through the stuff I was going through with the first young man, my mom said to me, she said, Micaiah, it's okay. She said, because if you are faithful to God, he'll be faithful to you. That's literally that's what she said. If you're faithful to God, he'll be faithful to you. And now being married and even looking back at the marriage process, I can say that the Lord was faithful. The Lord was so faithful. The Lord was, because I had truly given up on marriage. I had given up on the idea of marriage. And when I wasn't looking, when I wasn't paying attention, God was like, here you go. And let me tell you something. I could have not picked a better man for myself. I could have not picked a better man. It's so crazy because it's like everything I needed, the Lord put in Jay, and vice versa. Everything he needed, the Lord put in me. And my desire was always to have a kingdom marriage, and I can say I have that. I can say my husband loves me. I can say that I've watched us change. I've watched us change. I've watched us grow. I remember when me and Jay were just friends, I remember him telling me he was concerned because when it came to marriage, because he's not the most affectionate, or he doesn't really like being on the phone and stuff like that. And I said to him, Jay, when it's the one, the things you thought you would never would do, you would begin to do. And without me even realizing it, he started to do those things with me. Without him realizing it, it was like the Lord was like, I'm just gonna build this, and I'm not gonna let none of y'all know. I'm gonna just let stuff start happening, and I'm not gonna let none of y'all. And by times we finally caught up to what was going on, God was like, I already did it. I already did it. And so I'm so grateful. Because I even look back like at that story, even though it freaked me out. It freaked me out. It was no one understands the amount of faith it took to marry a man who I barely knew, and then move to a whole different state with him. To leave everything I know. To leave my family. I had just bought a car. To leave my car. To leave what I knew as home. To follow the will of God for my life. No, I talked about it. I talked about it on Sunday when I was preaching. And I was talking about how Mary, when the angel came to Mary, was like, hey, you're going to conceive a son. And she said, be it unto me. When it came to my marriage, I literally had to say, God, be it unto me. I don't understand. I for the life of me, I couldn't understand where God was going with this. I could not understand why the Lord brought this random man from nowhere. I could not understand. What do you mean this man is my husband? I could not understand him wanting me to move to Virginia. I couldn't understand him making me leave everything. But I literally said, be it unto me. And when I look at my life now, let me tell you something. When it comes to marriage, you want to make sure you are hearing from the Lord. You are hearing from the Lord because there's a difference between a good thing and a God thing. Because a good thing has the potential to go bad, but a God thing will always stand. What God joins together, let no man put asunder. And I think me and Jay are living testimonies that when God puts something together, it doesn't matter what hell, it doesn't matter what high water, it doesn't matter what the enemy tries to pull. That's it. That's locked in. We locked in and ain't going nowhere. Why? Because God did this. We didn't do this hard. If it was up to us, we wouldn't have married each other. Just because we didn't know each other. There's a significant age gap. I mean, it's not terrible. He's not old enough to be my daddy, but there's an age gap. We never met each other. It seems so far-fetched to us, but it made so much sense to God. And now when I look back at it, I'm like, yo, the prophecies, the words, everything that was told, I'm watching it unfold before my very eyes. And I have to say, y'all, I'm happy. I love my husband. I absolutely love. I think he is one of the best things that could have ever happened to me. I do. And I can truly say, I think we both can say that the Lord has used him to help me grow, and the Lord has used me to help him grow. And I am seeing kingdom happen. Like, I am seeing kingdom being take place. I'm literally in a marriage that represents Christ's love for the church. I share all of this to say that nobody could do it better than God. It scared the heck out of me. Because to me, even the little dreams and stuff like that, to me, it wasn't enough. I'm not gonna lie to you. To me, it wasn't enough, but I literally had to trust God. I literally had to be like, okay, God, I don't get it. And truthfully, to me, it don't make sense. But I trust you. I don't get it. I don't understand, but I trust you. And the amount of favor the Lord gave us just from our obedience, just for saying yes. And not necessarily yes to Jay, but yes to God. And in saying yes to God, I said yes to Jay. Next year, I'm going to be married 2 years. And that's crazy. I got engaged to a man I had never met. I said yes to a man because the Lord said that was his will for me. I packed up my whole life and moved because the Lord told me to. Because in all, my desire was really to please God. Marriage isn't just about having someone to call your babe or having somebody to say, oh, that's my man. Marriage isn't about that. Marriage, kingdom marriage, is about building the kingdom of God. It's about glorifying God through this covenant that he gave you. And so I know everyone's getting married now. I know it's marriage season. I know it's cuffing season. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Don't get married because you fear you're going to be alone. Don't get married because everybody else is doing it. Don't get married because it could be a good thing. Get married because it's a God thing. Get married because this is the will of God for your life. And I'm telling you, I'm going to tell y'all what my mom told me again. If you are faithful to God, he will be faithful to you. And I can say, even in my marriage, the Lord has been faithful to me. And so, yeah, there's a whole bunch of other stories that we'll get into eventually at some point. But y'all like this video, y'all turn this video up so we can get into the other part. Because it's like, okay, now we know how you know, but like, how did y'all come together? All that stuff like that. That has to be a me and Jay conversation, because I can't tell. Only he can tell his perspective. Like, I can't tell his perspective as good as he can. But yeah, that's it. I know this video is kind of long, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it's encouraged you. I hope you don't give up hope. I hope you know that the Lord will be faithful and all his promises are yes and amen. If God didn't show me anything through this, he showed me that his promises are yes and amen, because he told me I was going to get married. He told me I was going to get married. And when it didn't work out with the first person, I threw the promise away. But he never threw it away. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Congratulations to all the people who are getting married. Congratulations to all the people who are getting engaged. Congratulations to all the people who are still single and still waiting. Because guess what, baby? That's okay. That's okay. You sit and you wait and let God prepare you correctly. Because I'm telling you, once you get into this marriage thing, it's good. But it's work too. Oh man, they don't like to tell you that, but it's work. It's work. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, turn the post notifications so you don't miss a video, and leave a comment, because you never know when you'll get a shout out. But yeah, that's it. Remember, your flaws plus God equals flawless. So go in peace, love, and serve the Lord. Bye.